Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, doo-dah day.
Hello, everyone. I am Dan Hollifield, and this is Stupid O'Clock. I have a special message for whoever it is that kidnapped Joe Dog. We are not paying the ransom. I don't care how much you beg. You got him. You stuck with him. All right. And with me tonight, we got Joe Botman, we got John Scarborough, we got Uncle Carl, we got Kiri, we got our newest member of the choir, Paul, and a blast from the past, Louis.
Yeah, we're not letting the kidnappers bring Joe back until they pay us more money. So.
They're gonna have to pay us.
They got to pay us.
Yeah, really. And
the person who just won the was it Powerball out in Oregon? Would that even be enough money for us to take Joe Dog back? Like even if it wasn't taxed.
Okay, untaxed, I'd consider it. I wouldn't want to share it with anybody. Well, Thesis is here in the chat. Aunt Donna's here in the chat. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of people. We are all here in the chat.
Cool. And Kiri's here, and
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if only we can get Skunk and Heather real quick.
Oh, that would be a miracle, wouldn't it?
Boy, that would be old.
Yeah, it'd
Old crew.
definitely be old school. Um,
Joe Dog be so mad if he was missing this episode.
I'm sure he's watching to the best of his ability on hotel Wi-Fi. Joe
Now,
Dog's at.
which convention did he go to?
I don't remember. He and Chris both went.
I
Yeah.
think it's the one in Huntsville.
That's right. That's right. I don't remember the name of it, but it is in Huntsville. So maybe they'll get a chance to head out and go visit with Stephanie Osborne and give her a hug and everything. That would be wonderful. Oh. Well, don't everybody talk up at once.
Did anyone get to see the eclipse?
Yeah.
TV. Kind of.
I've only seen
Yeah,
part
I
of
saw it.
And now
I was looking right at it.
else.
Yeah, we got about 50% where we were at, and the clouds cleared up for most of the entire time.
That's actually the only
Lindsay-
reason I saw it is the clouds. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Well,
Lindsay
that-
and I
that
went
was
outside
weird
with
because-
little file cards with pinholes in them and
Mhm.
watched it.
When it was sunny, I went out there with a pair of binoculars and held them over we got one of these frosted glass outdoor tables on the backyard deck.
Mhm.
I held them up and I projected the eclipse onto the table, and I could actually see the form.
Yeah.
And then it got cloudy, and then I just walked outside and like, oh, there it is. You know, see it behind the clouds.
We ended up driving from Danville, Illinois to Danville, Indiana to get into totality. And we didn't really run into a whole lot of traffic until we tried to come back. And then everybody was on the
Of
road.
course.
Yeah, but it wasn't bad.
Ooh.
We took the country route so that we wouldn't have I guess the interstate was backed up for miles.
We had a meet the candidates night that night, and one of the candidates that was supposed to be there had taken his grandchildren down to see the totality. And he sent our precinct committee person a text. He's like, hey, it's currently 5:30, and it's telling me I won't be back to Northwest Indiana until about 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, well, we'll catch you next time because we ain't staying that long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we took Dawn down with us, and when she left Danville, I think it was like 7 p.m. or something, because we took our time, and took her till past 9 to get all the way to Peoria, which is not bad, but it was not normal for her.
Mm-hmm. And good news from Joe, there will be an episode of Never Mind the Furthermore tomorrow.
Yes.
And Nick Tockert, which means our own beloved Joe Bachman will be the man behind the curtain that he hopes no one will pay attention to.
Exactly.
And thesis goes, gradient.
One other thing that I noticed, I was reading through some articles on my phone, because Google will send you articles, and one of them was that there was an uptick in Google searches. My eyes hurt.
Yeah, that's
Like, there were hundreds of videos and news spots and everything, and I'm sure it was in the newspapers.
Oh yeah.
Don't look directly at something.
Yeah,
We saw some-
there is a library that was giving out eclipse glasses, and apparently they've had to apologize to all their customers because they bought counterfeit eclipse glasses
Oh.
and didn't know it, and are like, or bad. Yes.
It's still better than
Dawn.
it's still better
boy.
looking through, just your own eyes, I suppose. I mean, some protection. Not
Yeah,
much.
the people that are Googling my eyes hurt after that, it's one of those things of, you can't fix stupid, but you can remove the warning labels and let it
No,
fix
I would
itself.
love to have it on Google that if you type something, it sends you to a proper page for whatever you type. And like if you type "my eyes hurt" and Google comes back with "you're not supposed to look at the eclipse, dumbass." It's
And suddenly downloads of Jackson Brown songs have tripled in number.
Doctor.
Well, actually, according to Cloudflare, internet traffic across the totality dropped by as much as 60% during the eclipse.
Because everybody was out watching the
now
eclipse.
know how to get people to put their phones down, block out the sun.
Yeah.
Block out the sun.
Yeah. But then, of course, the traffic came right back when people started posting their pictures.
Oh, yeah.
So
everybody's using their phones to try to take pictures of the eclipse, which didn't work for us because if your phone has that really good software, it will it says, "Oh, it's dark. Let me lighten that up for you." And so, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if you had a real crappy phone, you got a really good picture of the eclipse.
See, they could have made a small fortune selling 50-cent eclipse filters for phone cameras. Just a little app, you download it for 50 cents, and
I believe I've actually got a sextant which has multiple sun filters on it. And I kind of I thought about taking it outside, and then I go, nah, it's a little bitty thing. It wouldn't work right, and I'm not buying one full scale.
Now you went.
Somebody else is going to go with the sextant and the little bitty thing.
It was in here. I wasn't going to say
that joke actually wrote itself.
And not the green room.
Yeah.
Now, did anybody see anybody sitting out there with a welding helmet on staring at the eclipse? Just out of curiosity.
one of my students brought his welding helmet. Yeah.
He would have had to have a really good filter on that.
Oh, most welding filters is good.
Yeah, believe me, a welding helmet, that lens is fine for an eclipse.
Yes.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. The one that Dad
You
had,
can.
he got a lighter filter so he could see what he was doing.
Oh, no. Now, if you've got a modified or special filter, I wouldn't recommend that. But the, what is it, ISO standard filter that comes on a welding helmet is perfectly fine for an eclipse.
Because strange enough, it's about the same energy.
Yeah. It's about the same brightness. Yeah.
I was actually the guy trying to filter the blaze away so I could watch the yard for fire while Dad was welding.
We were in a more urban area this time, and so we didn't have the same effect as in 2017 when we were out in the country. A little farm in Kentucky we found, and we parked, and we had noticed the birds stopped chirping, and the crickets were starting to come up, and the cows that were in the field down below us all were getting down on their knees to lay down. They thought it was night,
Yeah.
I wondered about that actually because as near as I can tell, our birds didn't do anything. So
in
2017, when I shot the total eclipse came by, I noticed that there was a rooster in the yard across the street from where I was camped out, and the rooster started crowing as soon as it got dark. The birds stopped flying.
Yeah.
Okay. Those were the two animal reactions that I witnessed. Oh, and then the couple that lives in the house where the chicken was or the rooster was, they started an argument. Why does it went? Oh yeah. Well, I've still got the video. It's hilarious. I mean, she was screaming at him. He was screaming back, and then silence. I think she must have hit him with a frying pan or something. But it was all over with before the sun came back.
Wow.
Yeah, that's about the same thing that Lindsay noticed with the last one that came through here. I was at work, again using the pinhole camera trick, but trying to record it on my tablet, which, the tablet has a great camera on it. And I just couldn't hold my hand still.
Yeah.
And so that's a crappy movie. But she said that the cows, the horses, and the sheep in the yard, in the farm across the street, they all just knelt down to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
All the birds got quiet. Cicadas started going.
Mhm.
Fireflies came out, and I'm going, yeah, I'm stuck at work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, apparently we need to be a little gentler with Dawn. She's had a laugh hangover since last night's show.
Yes, burning the yarn did get a little bit flighty there towards the end after Trey's hands started hurting and everybody was left with, oh, well, we can always just talk.
I'm glad I got to jump in at the end of the episode, so.
Yeah. And Rich is here too. Bella started freaking out, didn't know what was happening. Yeah. Mac of all trades is here, and I'm not going to post the previous comment because it's kind of a little too topical for us. But let's just say karma always wins, and leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of celestial events, we were supposed to have an asteroid come fairly close today, about 6 p.m. It didn't hit us, but that was one of the predictions somebody was making. And I'm like, it was only the size of a small car. It was like 9 foot across, and it wouldn't have done anything. I mean,
well, not a whole lot. The one that made Meteor Crater in Arizona, I think, was the size of a school bus.
Yeah.
100 metric tons. That's a lot of nickel iron.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're lucky, it's nickel iron. If you're not, it's just snow and dirt and pebbles.
Yeah. Like the ones that hit the Soviet Union when they came down and blew apart because they warmed up too much.
Yeah, air blast. Yeah.
I've often wondered if somewhere out there is a uranium asteroid floating about.
That
wouldn't be very pure, but it also wouldn't surprise me. I mean, there is a natural nuclear reactor in Africa that's been being banked by flow of water that comes into it periodically, and then as the tides change, God help me understand how the tide can change in the middle of Africa.
Underground,
the water would go away, and the uranium in it, even though it's unenriched, would start bubbling away and throw out neutrons. And there was some anthropologist that goes, hey, this might be a clue as to why we actually evolved. Well, I mean,
I heard it was much.
Maybe he read too many X-Men comics as a kid. I don't know.
Godzilla. He's just watched too many Godzilla movies.
So I'm going to ask the question. Dawn had Carl thinking he saw a comet on Monday?
Okay. When the eclipse happens, you could see like some of the planets and some stars. And I pointed out there was Jupiter and Venus that were clearly visible. And I was hoping we'd see what was called the Devil Comet that was coming fairly close. They call it Devil Comet because it had 2 tails.
Oh.
It looked like horns. So there's a scientific name to it, 2024 P2 or something like that. But anyway, I was saying, look over there because that's where we would see the comet if it was, if it had a detail today. And Dawn says, I saw the comet. And as soon as it came out of her mouth, she knew it wasn't a comet. I looked up and go, oh my, that's a plane. It was the contrail of a plane, but it had two tails. I was like, oh, thank you, Dawn.
There was one guy that actually he had his telescope aimed up with
Yeah.
filters on and everything. Actually caught an airline flight crossing across the sun before
Yeah, that
totality
was
hit.
actually a woman.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it was a woman, and she's an amateur photographer.
Oh,
She
well,
got quite a shot. And
Yeah.
and what I liked about it is when they did the news story, they showed her camera and they showed the image on her camera. So
Sweet.
you know that it wasn't photoshopped or anything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
very
Because there have
impressive.
been a lot of Photoshop coronal pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
My wife showed me one. She says, "Is this real?" And I'm like, "Moon doesn't even look like that."
Yeah.
Plus the fact that there's no way you can get the iris of your camera to open up enough to get the detail of the moon, but close it enough at the same time that you're not blowing out the corona.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not possible. Not without NASA's cameras. They've got special cameras.
Sure. Zach his channel had video, and sadly, some people in the background were cursing when they saw it. They said, "Oh, holy," and some other words, and I'm like, "Whoa, Zach's not going to be happy when he sees that."
You're going to have to bleep that. Well,
Yeah.
at least his video is all finished and published. So
Nice.
There was that big.
Thank you.
There was an explosion at a plant in Texas that makes rocket fuel or made solid rocket fuel for the space shuttle. It's this huge explosion. But there were some people working for the power company up on a hill about 2 miles away. And somebody up there had a video camera, was videotaping the fire at the plant. They said, that place makes like rocket fuel and stuff like that. It says, yeah, that's a pretty big fire too. And they're videotaping about the time they said this, talking about how big the fire was. There was the first explosion.
Wow.
And they had it on. They showed this on the news, but they had to bleep everything after that for like the next 5 minutes.
When you
all these
like
electrical workers that were up there on the hill working on the power lines and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Oh fuck! Holy shit! Fuck! Oh, that ain't good.
I know you've seen the still photographs of the guy that was close enough to Mount St. Helens to go, I'm dead. I'm just going to keep taking photographs.
Mm-hmm.
If he'd had a video camera, what his commentary would have been at the time. Here comes a big rock. I'm doomed.
There was a married couple that were volcanologists that were taking photos in Japan, I think it was, during a volcanic eruption, and they were killed. And I don't know how they got the film out of the camera, but or maybe they transmitted it before. But yeah, they were killed by the flows that came down the side. It was sad.
What impressed me was
great shot, but
what impressed me was the absolute stupidity of the people that were recording the volcanic flows in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
Either they were using a real good zoom lens or they were close enough to get roasted just standing there.
There was a video of somebody in the back of a truck or something, and they were driving away from the flows, and you could see it coming towards them, and they would drive a little faster, and it would go further away, and then it would get closer again as it sped up down the hill. And I don't know if they got away or not, but they did.
Oh, Lord. Daddy's here. We got to behave.
All right. Who accepted the ransom money that ended up getting him back to us?
Oh boy.
This is some video that I got at Mauna Loa.
Yeah. I believe that was
That
I
was,
believe that was the one.
That was January of 2020. Quit doing that. My camera's pushing. Well, it's trying to find me. I've got a new camera. By the way, how does my camera look?
Great.
It looks amazing.
It's sharp as all get out.
It's an Osmo Pocket 3.
And it follows you everywhere. Yeah.
I have heard really good reviews of that.
See, look at this. No hands. Camera's following me. And it's really nice. It shoots up to 4K, 120 frames per second. It's awesome. I mean, you can just tap on the screen and the gimbal turns around.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
You
don't want to zoom in on my face like that. Good Lord.
But
that's all right. I'm trying not to count Lewis's nose hairs.
It's got a gimbal built in. And so, everything is just as smooth as silk.
Is that the one that you make gestures?
Well, it's got a wireless mic.
Oh.
And then I can plug my boom into it. Yeah, I love it. I've had it for a couple of weeks now, really putting it through its paces with my students. And
holy cow.
Is that the one where you make certain gestures like an L and it zooms in on you?
No, not this one. Okay. I don't think so. Oh, you just made me say I was a loser. That was mean.
No, you had to have it up here for that.
And it's got these extra little filters. This is a wide angle adapter. Check this out. Now, this is a 20 millimeter equivalent lens, and then you pop this on there. Now it's a 15 millimeter. Look how much wider. And it's magnetic.
Wait a minute.
But your ceiling got bent.
Okay. Do it again.
Put it back on for a second.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to get a little bit of curvature there.
Sure. Yeah. Wide angle.
Starting to look like my house because settling.
Oh, I know. I got to clean it. It's a mess. But I'm loving it.
Whoa. I'm not that interesting.
Surprise. Well, good. I'm glad that it's working. And I've got it on a little, selfie stick right in front of the screen. So that way I'm at least looking a little bit more into the camera while I'm looking at you guys.
Yeah, there's a Canal Boat couple that swear by that thing. They, matter of fact, the wife has dropped one in the canal a couple of times, and they keep ordering new ones.
Yeah,
because they just love it.
The only bad thing about the DJI Pocket is that it's not waterproof.
Yeah,
you can get a waterproof housing for it, but.
I just looked up the price of those. Holy cow!
Yeah, they're not cheap.
I mean, this one's $6.99, I believe it was, for the combo kit with the wireless mic and the extra battery and the little tripod and cool little carry case.
Oh, nice.
Now there's one that will do. If you put it on a selfie stick, it automatically edits the selfie stick out of the photograph.
Yeah,
I think it might be a 360 view.
I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if I like the face tracking thing though. That's kind of
really
bit annoying. Yeah,
very handy.
I would get annoyed if it tracked me to the fridge every time I went to get another beer. I got a dog for that.
Yeah. Well, I was doing an instructional video. One of my students just had knee surgery, and so he's been doing distance learning. And I've got my laptop on my desk, and I've got my Promethean board behind me, and we've been using that. But whenever I move around the desk, it loses me. He can still hear me, but he can't see me. So I tried this on it yesterday, I think it was, because he's back in school today. But for his last day, I used this, and he was like, why didn't you use that the whole time? I said, well, I didn't have it the whole time, but it was able to follow me around the classroom so he could always see me.
As long as it doesn't follow you down the hall to the toilet. I mean,
Well,
seriously.
it has legs, but they don't walk. It's a tripod.
It'd be the new version that has a hovercraft built into it that just follows you around the house.
I mean, that's what DJI is famous for. They're the ones that make most of the popular drones, and that's where they got so good at making high resolution cameras with a built-in gimbal. I mean, I can pick this thing up, and look how smooth that is.
Yeah, there's no skipping at all.
No.
Thesis, no. Don't worry. I was worried about it, and people said, no, this is fine. Now we know a little bit. We still don't understand that voodoo that you do so well, but, and Donna answered back, same thing. Trust me, Thesis, there's some of us who watch it and still have no idea how to do it ourselves. And Adam Green is saying hello.
Yes. Or have no interest in doing it. I've been watching these videos about how to bind your own books, and I was thinking, okay, I could make my own books. That's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money and equipment. I'm like, yeah, I'll pay Lulu to do it. Thank you.
Yeah.
I used to have to do that at Staples occasionally. We actually offered hardback covers, and God, were those a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
And who got sent over every time we got one of those orders? I did.
Of course.
Yes, because you're the only one that was good at it.
I just saw that Joe Dog said hi. Hi back. Hope you're having fun.
Better be. He's wasted a lot of money. No, I was watching someone that worked in a library rebinding old books.
Wow.
And the process looked so complex.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
going, no, thank you. I'll stick to clear plastic tape and keep the covers on mine. Thank you.
Yeah. I think people will feel the same way about Thesis's work. They'll be like, no, I'd rather pay him to do it than do it.
Really, it'd be much easier, and he already knows how. I don't want to learn a new skill. I'm too lazy for that shit. So, Thesis, you could explain it well enough to where anybody could do it, but it would be like one of the writers that we know going, hey, this is how you do this, and people watching it would still not know how to create characters and plot and pacing well enough to become a best-selling author. And there's a kitty.
Himoni. Say hi to Dawn.
I'm sure that if I were properly trained, I could run a nuclear plant. You just don't want me doing it tomorrow morning.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Homer Simpson.
No.
No. Everybody watch Lewis's face when I say this. Lewis was in the Navy, and I'm sure he's taught quite a few nuclear technicians.
They actually wanted me to go nuke, but they wanted 6 years active, and I stupidly said no.
Well,
I went into radar. Really? What can I do as a civilian? Air traffic control? Yeah. 5-year and burnout,
Yeah.
I could have been
And there's no job security because of Reagan.
No, wait a minute. You were a radar technician, right? You worked on radars.
No. We would do preventative maintenance and regular maintenance, but no, I didn't fix it.
Oh.
We had ETs to do that, electrician technicians.
Because there's a lot of jobs fixing radars, especially in the merchant marine, because all the ships got multiple radars.
Yeah. Have you seen some of those ships?
I was a
John, I
tank.
will leave it to you to read Joe Dog's latest comment.
I was a tank turret technician. There were jobs that could have translated to.
You know, Army
But-
Times used to always have those ads in the back for turret mechanics and hull mechanics for artillery and tanks. But you had to go to Saudi Arabia for a year. But they were paying, 3 times what you would make.
Yeah, I mean, you can go to Saudi Arabia for 1 year and live here for 5 years.
It was a long time ago, so
There's a guy in England that has been buying surplus tanks, things that people have used for to sit in a park or whatever and want to get rid of. And he'll buy them, take them back to his place, rebuild them totally, and then sell them on to some war museum or whatever where it's actually appreciated. But he puts them back in operating condition. And some of those things, he had one somebody had pulled the engine out of, filled the engine compartment with concrete, and then somebody with a air chisel went in there and chipped the concrete out and ruined all of the wiring connections. So he had to redo all of that. But I don't know where he gets the money from.
I'm wondering why a war museum needs a fully functional tank. Are they going to attack the war museum in the next town, or
where do you think they got the tanks in the first place?
Hey, never can tell. You can't trust them Europeans. It's Britain. They've had a lot of experience in not trusting them.
There was this story. It's a movie. I can't remember the name of it right offhand, but the guy was a speedboat racer and drove these really fast speedboats. And the speedboat he had a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine from an old P-51 Mustang.
Wow.
Well, they wound up.
Those were in Spitfires.
No, the Merlins were in the Spitfires, weren't they?
They were in the P-51 Mustang too.
Really?
And the B-38 Lightning, and
good to know.
Oh, what's that damn the British bomber, the Lancaster, British Lancaster bomber had 4 of them, and then but he had a Rolls-Royce Merlin out of a P-51 and blew the head on it, cracked the head, and this was right before a big race. And of course, there's no way you're going to get parts for a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. So they got a cherry picker and went down to this local Air National Guard base. And it turned out they had a P-51 Mustang out on a pedestal out in front of the Air National Guard base as their gate guard. And they went in, opened up the P-51, pulled the head off the engine from the National Guard gate guard.
Whoa.
And put their cracked
yeah, because it was basically a sculpture.
Exactly. And won the race.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a VA, not a VA, what is the one? Somebody help me out here.
American Legion.
American Legion, well, something like that. Basically, they hold dances and bingo and whatnot.
VFW.
Yeah, American Legion, VFW.
They've got a Super Saber guarding their gate. And I'm just going, that thing's been sitting there for about my entire life.
Yeah.
The one in Chattanooga has an anti-aircraft gun.
Super Saber was a F-86.
Yes.
As far as what Dawn's saying, I was on a fast frigate, and we were always at the lead of the formation, and the aircraft carriers in the center. And so I would have a sector that I would keep an eye on. And so once the jets leave the carrier, once they get about 20 miles out, then we pick them up and we keep an eye on them because they'll have a dozen birds in the air at once.
Is a Saber. The F-100 was the Super Saber.
Okay.
That was the first of the Century fighters.
Oh, and Trey's just joined us.
Hell, I gotta behave now.
Hi.
When they
Since when
started
has she
making,
ever stopped you before?
when they started making planes that could go supersonic, they changed all the numbers over to something that started with a 100, which is where you get the term century fighters, is your F-101, 105, so on and so forth. And then when they went to planes that could do Mach 2, they started all over again.
Let's see, Joe Dog's
F4.
last comment, maybe 8:30-ish where he's at, but he needs to be on site at 9:30 a.m. and his wings are getting cold.
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah,
Wah.
well,
Well, yeah. Hope you have fun, Joe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Kiri, do you know what convention that is down there?
It's some Huntsville pop culture expo or something.
Yeah, Joe, what's the name of that convention? It'll take him forever to type. It'll take him forever to type that name with wing sauce on his fingers.
wing sauce on his fingers, yeah.
Especially a long name
No.
like that.
He just sniped at Dawn. Have a Hooters next to the hotel. Yeah. You don't know what to do with it, though, do you? What's this?
See,
When
Huntsville.
you're not in hell,
Comic
then
and
your
Pop
body
Cultural
parts are going to get
Expo.
cold no matter where you are.
Oh, wow.
That's our Richie.
Did you hear me?
Yeah.
The Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and Joe Doug just right after you said that, he finished typing it.
Schmuck. Save me some work if he was faster.
Yeah, Kiri had it just about right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good enough.
Hey, Lewis, did you see that Jeff Foxworthy post that I put on Stupid O'Clock?
Remind me.
Okay, yeah, I just put it there today, and I tagged you in it. But
oh yeah, about Louisiana, and as long as there's ditches,
they'll it says people in Louisiana will never go hungry as long as there are ditches on the side of the road.
But crawfish crop this year is awful. It was such a dry summer last year, not very many, so the price is way up there.
Gators in the ditches too.
Yeah, and gators.
You can still get Joe Dog tail meat pretty cheap.
Good night, Joe.
Good night, Joe Dog.
Good night.
I'm surprised you don't see more gator farms raising gators just for meat, like a chicken farm.
They do have them, yes.
They have a few, but they're not as prolific as you think they would be.
Well, I'll tell you, when they first opened hunting season again for gators, this would have been 89 or 90. The gators' hides were going for a ton. I mean, I was at one of the wildlife and fisheries checkpoints, and they were bringing in gators that were 12 feet long, and the guy was saying that's going to be about $1,000.
Yeah,
just for the hide. He got to keep the meat, and he sold the hide to the clothing companies and whatever. And he was going to get $1,000 for a 12-foot gator.
Lost two brothers, but bait's expensive.
Well, the thing was, for a long time, American alligators were a protected species for a while. They were made on the endangered.
Yeah, believe me, I know, because we couldn't hunt them.
And then suddenly, it worked. The alligator was no longer an endangered species anymore because
the Endangered Species Act is a proven law. It works. It can bring a species back from the brink of extinction to where you can hunt them again.
Mm-hmm.
Especially one that lays eggs every year.
Yeah. Well, about
A couple of
45
years
minutes
ago-
southeast of Thibodaux, Louisiana.
A couple of years
it's
ago,
45 minutes southeast of Thibodaux, the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, sorry. Cat was attacking my drink there.
a couple of years ago, before I left New Orleans, there was a huge alligator made it into town, and the cops had to. Well, they put it down, but it was big. It was huge.
Were you living in New Orleans?
Yeah, I lived there from 2012 to about 2022 ish.
Oh, okay. So
Then I moved
you
to
were
West
in New
Virginia.
Orleans. I was in the old New Orleans. I moved away from New Orleans 91. I got here in 91 and was born and raised there. Lived there most of my life. Whereabouts did you live?
Well, I lived pretty close to the quarter at first, and then I wound up like on the other side of town. I can't remember exactly what was the address. It was on the western side of town.
Metairie?
It wasn't quite Metairie. I was still in New Orleans, but it was like
Carrollton?
yeah, it was on Carrollton and
Okay.
Claiborne. Was it Claiborne?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Carrollton turns into Airline Highway at the parish line.
Yeah, I wasn't too far from there. But yeah, I was right by. Well, I'm not sure how long that Robert's was there, but the Robert's was there for a long time that I know of, before 2012. So I lived right behind there for a while. But I lived on a Frenchman just outside of the quarter for a couple of years too. So that was fun being able to just walk to the quarter. But
Yeah.
Oh, you gotta bring up Adam's comment.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just about to. It was in the North Aussie croc country, had a flood, and one of the restaurants had a frozen croc in the freezer for butchering, and the chef had a bright idea to float it down the main street of the city, had people running left and right. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh.
Was it somebody down in Florida had a concrete alligator lawn sculpture that they'd painted up real nice, and they put it in the water facing out along this walking path. And he's in his house one morning, all of a sudden he hears pow, 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 goes out, the cops are shooting.
Oh, jeez.
The cops are shooting the concrete alligator.
And,
That's when you do too good a job on your lawn ornaments.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly why you don't put a bow target of a deer in your front lawn as a decoration in Georgia.
there's some guy down the street. When I take the dog to the vet, I drive right by his house, and he had one of those deer targets out in his front yard for the longest. Drove by it the last time. He has a moose target out there.
He's just asking people to drive by.
Hey, there's
no
a farm
moose
not 3 miles from me.
in Georgia.
They actually have buffalo. And I'm wondering how many times some idiot in a pickup truck has stopped and go, I'm going to get me one of them.
Mhm. How are you going to get home?
Called about 50 of his closest friends
Yeah. Yeah.
and hope he don't get caught.
Now, if you go on vacation to, say, Alaska to hunt moose, okay, I can understand having a moose target in your front yard, but just that. Well,
I'm going to Alaska in June, but I'm not going to be hunting.
what are you doing in Alaska? Just out of curiosity.
It's an 11-day multimodal trip. We're going to cruise for 3 days, get off the cruise ship, take a chartered bus. We're going to go through Yukon territory, hit Whitehorse, Dawson City. We're going to take a private plane from Dawson City to Fairbanks, spend a day there. Then we're going to take a chartered bus down to Denali. Going to spend 2 days at a private lodge in Denali, and then we're going to take that Alaskan train from Denali down to Anchorage and leave from Anchorage.
Nice.
That
It's
sounds
all
fun.
done through Holland America.
That sounds fun.
It's we're hoping for the best, but everybody that's ever been on this just says, you think this is a once in a lifetime bucket trip, but boy, you start planning for the next time you can do it. Yeah.
I always wanted to do that. I wanted to go down to Disney World in Florida, stay there for about a week or two get a resort room, then go get on Disney's Big Red Boat. Do that a while. Come back, get on the Amtrak train out of Orlando. I'm trying to remember. Sunset Limited, I think, is the name of the one that goes along the southern border.
Sounds familiar.
Goes all the way out to California. 3-day trip. And if you there's some deal you can do with National Park Service. They will provide a guide in the observation car to point out all the historic locations along the route.
Oh.
I'm not sure what all it entails, but I thought that'd be cool. Just
It sounds cool.
And then when you get out to California, go to Disney World.
Best of both.
You just slumming with the
worlds.
mouse, man.
You could spend a month slumming with the mouse. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, my other bucket list trip that I'd love to do is go around and see all the big warships. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When we went to Hawaii in last January, we did the Midway because we sailed out of San Diego. Midway is a really good museum, but I do want to go to New York again and see the Intrepid. Last time we were in New York, we just didn't have time, but I want to see the Intrepid because they've got an SR-71 on board. And
don't they have a Concorde?
Yes, and a Concorde. So they've got two of the fastest jets ever made on one deck. I mean, that's got to be awesome.
And they got a space shuttle pavilion and all sorts of cool stuff. So
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, the Smithsonian Space and Air Museum was another big. You could spend a month going to the Smithsonian's.
I went there. First time I ever went to the Smithsonian was a high school trip, and I asked one of the docents. I said, "How long would it take to see everything in the Smithsonian?" And he looked at me. He says, "I've been volunteering here for 5 years, and I still haven't."
There you go.
I mean, it's quite a collection.
And isn't the Smithsonian split up amongst several different museums?
Yes,
it is.
Yeah, they've got
In
the
several
American
states.
History Museum, the Natural History Museum, the Air and Space Museum,
And I think don't they have
the
two
Native
air
American. Well, now they've got a Native American museum that I haven't been to yet. Yeah,
Sweet.
I got stuck in Baton Rouge during Hurricane
Waiting on a train.
Hurricane Gustav, and we were we were staying at the football stadium there at the college, and we were right up the river from the USS Kidd there in Baton Rouge. But it was closed because
Fletcher-class destroyer.
a Fletcher-class destroyer. They used it as the set for Greyhounds with Tom Hanks.
Yes. Yeah.
And the thing was, it had a 7-degree list on it after the hurricane.
Really?
It was
Well,
it was closed.
Yeah, it's on a very unique cradle. It's on a cradle, and it's got 2 sleeves and 2 poles, and it rises and falls with the river. When the river's at low point, it actually rests on the ground on a special cradle. But when the river is up, it's floating. It's
Apparently, I don't know if that was what they had when Hurricane Gustav or before Hurricane Gustav, but all the new improvements you see were because of Hurricane Gustav because it damaged the mast.
Wow.
And put a nasty little list on it. And a couple of my guys they were on guard duty for it for a while. while, keeping people away from it, and then eventually the locals took over. So I think we only had guard duty on it. For
The kid actually survived a kamikaze attack on the port side.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Y'all
and
might
the bomb it
got
was
a
carrying,
place.
when it got hit by the kamikaze,
Mhm.
the bomb it was carrying went all the way through the ship and blew up on the other side in the water.
Wow.
And it took a lot of damage, and I want to say 13 crewmen, 17 crewmen, something like less than 24 crewmen were killed and a lot injured. But they got lucky that the bomb didn't go off. And if it had gone off inside the path that had taken through the destroyer, to cut that destroyer in half. So
yeah.
Y'all may get a kick out of this, but Lindsay's hometown, Portsmouth, they actually have the real HMS Victory, Admiral Nelson's flagship, that was raised from the ocean floor and rebuilt. And it is a museum ship now. I've actually seen it from the side windows of a bus as we drove by. And she's just bouncing up and down in the chair, just so excited because she got to see it again.
there is an armored cruiser in the United States called the USS Olympia. And it was part of the Great White Fleet. But then back in the
World War One,
early warship. But it's
Yeah.
painted white and has like gold fittings.
Yeah.
All the wood furniture inside is like mahogany, teak deck, brass everywhere. And they've been taking really good care of it. I can't remember where it is though. I know it's somewhere up in New England. Okay, I have to look that one up.
Well, we've got a wooden sailing ship that's still on active duty called the Constitution, and we didn't have to raise her because we never let her get sunk.
Cheap shot.
Oh, but I do love that one joke about the guy was doing the tour on the Trafalgar or
Victory?
Victory, I think it was. And he was talking about how it had fought at the Battle of Trafalgar. And he was showing off the cannons and everything. This one French lady goes, "Are these the actual cannonballs?" Says that were fired at you by the French, or were these the actual cannonballs you fired during the battle? And he goes, "No, ma'am. The French still have those." That's
Underwater, but
Yeah, and she was French, wasn't she?
I believe so. Was the
Yeah, I think that
joke I
was,
heard,
yeah, that was what was the funny part about the joke.
Olympia is in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay.
Let me see here.
damn, I missed
Yeah, Donna,
no.
I lived in Baton Rouge for my college years and beyond, and yeah, it's a great town. But man, after Katrina, it blew up in population. It's still kind of suffering.
Yeah, a lot of displaced people having to relocate.
Yeah, and they just never went back to New Orleans.
Sorry, Don.
Oh wow!
I've never understood.
Feel better, Don.
Oh,
Feel better.
yes.
Yeah.
Sorry. Let me flash that up here. Back is screaming. Yeah, I can well relate. But thank you for your time. And we have yet to reach the hour mark. This has been so interesting. What's really tragic is Paul and Valkyrie haven't said a damn thing mostly.
Can't get a word in edgewise, Dan.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Go for it.
I brought up some stuff. I got the New Orleans conversation rolling there a little bit. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
I'm not the
I'm just
entirely the
looking, I'm looking at everybody, and there's one of us that's not like the others. You're going to have to grow a beard. I'm sorry.
What?
Or at least get one you can paste on.
Yeah.
I'll have to do that next time.
and based on most of our ages, you could probably just pick up an old Santa, hook on Santa beard. Oh, yeah, that's the
I could
Olympia.
see that.
C6. Wow.
Yeah, no kidding.
C is for cruiser.
Armored Cruiser 6.
Yeah, that's World War I vintage. That the shape of that bow.
Earlier than World War One.
And you know what? They're actually starting to go back to that shape.
They are.
The Zumwalt class uses that inverted bow.
You see it a lot on the container ships too.
Yeah,
not coming out now, and they'll have that bulb underwater.
Yeah,
where they put the thrusters are down there now. It would be sonar on a warship, but it's thrusters.
Yeah.
But you know, I think the that was a happy accident because the military ships, the warships, were putting that sonar dome on the lower portion of the bow, and they found out that it was giving them much more stable glide through the water than just the bow by itself, and so they started putting them as not decoration, but
I'm trying to remember which ship started that with the forward looming bows. I know there was
I don't know. Mine had it because my ship had a lot of sonar.
Right.
We had sonar on the bow like that, and we had a Lamps helicopter, Sea Sprite helicopter that could drop sonobuoys.
Right.
So we had a lot of sonar gear on our ship.
And a towed array.
Yeah.
And fun stuff like that.
When we're looking for frogs.
Texas has this neat little davit up front where the bow comes forward and then it kind of bows under slightly. You got this davit.
You talking about the old battleship?
Yeah.
Texas? Yeah.
And it was for the cables that they would run out to the paravanes for looking for mines. They had this thing, it looked like a torpedo, but they towed it along behind the ship and it would pull itself away from the ship.
Yeah.
On these two cables that came off the nose of the ship. And if it found a mine, it would grab it, and the paravane had a cutter for cutting the mines loose.
Wow.
Which I don't know why you'd want to cut a mine loose. If it's anchored someplace, you know where it's at. But apparently it was to keep the ships following it from running into a mine.
Yeah.
Because they see it.
What you do is you clip it, and then it floats up to the top, and then the minesweepers can see it easier and take care of it.
Yeah.
Or the gunners. Marines love that sort of stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
We never ran into any. We would get out on the fantail whenever we had secure disposal. You know, we would shred classified documents, put them in a garbage bag, and once every few days we would go out on the fantail and throw the bags into the ocean and take target practice with an M16 to fill it with water so it would sink.
I'm surprised y'all didn't throw it in a boiler or something, or in the furnace. You know,
no, we were diesel. We were a diesel boat, so there wasn't anything open. It was a closed system. Besides, it was the only chance we ever got to have any practice. Not like the Army where you got to qualify every year.
Twice a year.
Qualify in boot camp, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah.
Texas just came out of dry dock. They got her all painted up. Now they're working on
I've been watching that on Facebook.
She's pretty.
They did a hell of a job too.
Missouri, which is out in Hawaii, they just did a $14 million renovation on the superstructure. Had to get rid of a lot of rust and holes in the floorboards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then
you're talking about the one that's moored behind the Arizona.
Correct.
Yeah.
New Jersey just went into dry dock, and she's getting a $35 million repair.
Wow.
18 tons of paint from Sherman-Williams. They showed a van pull up. And
At least they're buying the good stuff.
They pull up in this van and they start forklifting pallets of 5-gallon buckets of paint out of the back of the van and says, "Well, that's the first load." There's like 4 or 5 pallets stacked out there. It's like,
yeah,
damn.
If you were using a dump truck, you'd still have multiple trucks.
Said 33,000. No, what was it? 33,000 pounds of paint, and it's something 3,000 something gallons.
Yeah.
And the really
a gallon of paint is like 7 pounds.
8.3 something,
Okay.
345 or something.
Yeah.
No, that's water. Paint would be heavier.
Yeah.
Call it 10 and be done with it. I mean, seriously.
You know, I said a long time ago we need to have national lotteries just for war memorials. You know how the lotteries we have now are going toward education. They need to have one just for upkeep of like aircraft carriers and battleships and other national parks.
Classic planes, I would insist on.
Still hurts to think they're scrapping the Enterprise.
I know.
You know, if they would just take the flight deck and cut it up into little chunks, people would buy a piece of that flight deck for $100, $200. Not even bat an eye. To have a piece of the Enterprise's flight deck.
Star Trek fans alone would pay
Navy veterans,
$1,000 a square inch.
Yeah.
Oh, now they are selling bits as they pull the old steel off of Texas and the old decking and stuff like that. They're recycling what they can of that, and you can actually buy chunks of the Texas. And one of the things they did, and somebody complained about it because they took some of the wood decking. I think it was teak. It's either teak or marine grade pine. I think there's a special pine that's similar to teak. But they were cutting it up, and they were making pistol grips.
Oh, wow.
And the main ones they were doing were for Colt 45, 911 45s.
Uh-huh.
And you could buy a set of those, and it had Texas engraved on it and all that sort of stuff.
Nice.
That'd be really cool.
And then, as they pull some of the steel, they're having to replace a lot of the old steel superstructure, and they've been cutting that up for memorabilia too. And buy a plaque with a chunk of superstructure.
That's another thing you can do with the Enterprise. You melt the steel, pour it into a Star Trek Enterprise mold.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's an idea.
There you go.
Yeah, a little Christmas
People pay
ornament.
$1,000 for a little
the
model.
actual Enterprise. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that's what I said.
Laser etch the Enterprise on it.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to get one of those
cubic
key
inch
rings
they'd
that
pay a
recycled
grand for,
Russian
yeah.
tank.
Oh, there's
Have you
somebody
gotten
that's
one of those
offering
yet? I
that
know
now.
You want one, John.
I can get you the website for it, but strangely enough, if you share that advertising right now, you'll start getting a bunch of Russian bots asking you why America's killing Russians.
Because
That
they're
sounds like
there.
a Wolf Fest.
Joe posted that advertisement the other day, either America's here or on Stupid O'Clock, and right after he did, the Russian bot hit.
Now, Nick's got a great
That
idea.
would be a great idea, Nick. Yeah, I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That does not get enough attention.
No,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good idea, Nick.
You see, what's the other battleship news? That's the only things I can think about right offhand. Except that the Navy is actually rethinking reactivating 2 of the battleships.
Really?
I heard about that. Yeah.
I read about that. Yeah.
Apparently, all this Houthi drone attacks and missile attacks in the Red Sea, we either have to throw a $50,000 or $150,000 missile back at them, because we don't have a gun right now that can reach that far inland.
Oh.
16-inch can.
That's what I was thinking.
And well, it's not so much that they want to bring back the Vietnam era battleship, as apparently, I'm not sure who it is, if it's Grumman or Raytheon or both, but apparently they said, we can pack a lot of electronics into a 16-inch shell.
Oh,
You can destroy a lot of electronics with a 16-inch shell. Battleships don't care about.
Didn't they actually toy with a 16-inch EMP at one point, like right after Desert Storm?
Yeah, they didn't want to get rid. They still had the 2 battleships operational right after Desert Storm.
Yeah, didn't they toy with EMP shells from one of those battleships for a quick minute?
They had all sorts of neat. They were really trying to hang on to those battleships, and people were coming up with all sorts of gizmos.
Could you imagine putting VLS launchers in the place of those 3 turrets? Don't even have to be nuclear. Just stuff them full of EMP and HE, and just be like, rah, 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 rah.
Railgun.
But,
now battleship hull. Oh yeah, you could stuff some generators down there to really power a railgun, or 3 of them, or 9 of them per se.
There was back in the 80s when they first started bringing the battleships back up to snuff under Reagan. I want to say it was Northrop, but I might be wrong. Had an idea for a phase 2 for the Iowa class. They don't laugh.
Is that anything like the Jewish laser satellite?
I'm just going. I know there's research going on in this area right now.
Yeah.
And Oak Ridge is going, oh, give me that contract.
They were going to pull the rear turret off the Iowa classes and keep the forward 2 turrets. But they're going to pull the rear turret off and turn the entire back end of the ship into a flight deck, like a mini aircraft carrier, but for Marine Corps operations.
Yeah.
So they were going to have Harriers and helicopters and all sorts of things.
Well, now it'd be F-22s.
Now it'd be
F-35s.
Yeah.
35s. Yeah.
Don't get me started on 35s.
But
not Osprey, please.
I saw enough of those in New Mexico.
They've actually figured out what the issue was, and they're resuming flight ops in San Diego.
And they've got a new Osprey, and
they need to scrap every damn one of them.
They actually have a
storm carrier.
Don't laugh.
Killed more Marines than enemy fire. That's damn sad.
They were talking about turning at that phase 2 style Iowa class battleship into either a VLS missile launcher and just putting a huge vertical launch cell on the back end of that thing. Or
that's what I said.
Turning it into a drum carrier.
Watch a 1,000-foot ship just rolling along. All of a sudden, you start seeing MRLS looking like launches coming out of that thing.
Yeah.
Just be like,
on my fast frigate,
that's a who it concerns regional area size of destruction.
On my fast frigate, we had an 8-pod ASROC launcher, anti-submarine rocket.
Big box launcher.
Yep.
And then, of course, everything's gone to vertical launch cell now. So.
Yeah, well, the guidance system is so much better. You don't even have to point them in the right direction. Just get them in the air, and they'll find the target with extreme prejudice.
Japanese Navy destroyers are conspicuously flat. There's no regulation limiting Japanese drones.
Yeah, apparently in their constitution, they're not supposed to have aircraft carriers. But strange enough, they have these 2 destroyers that are flat topped. For helicopter operations, apparently.
Yeah, they're making them LHDs.
And with drone technology coming out where it is, it's going to turn those into nasty little floating bases. They kind of scared the Chinese.
Well, that's not a lick of miss. Somebody
Have you seen that one Japanese destroyer that has like twin turbine, 1 turbine per screw, and how fast that thing will take off out of that water? and you just see this massive brownish green plume rise up out of it, and that ship just
Mitsubishi.
and it's gone.
Mitsubishi makes some awesome engines.
Yeah,
They always
turbines
have.
especially.
That was a problem back in the day. They made awesome lots of stuff.
People still troll them. Do you make this? And it's a picture of an AM6.
They actually made some really good motorcycles back in the day too, if I remember correctly. Not one that my wife would trust me with, but and she wouldn't trust me with a pair of roller skates right now.
Somebody got a message.
Yeah, my mother keeps messaging me. I told her I'm talking to people, but she doesn't care.
Luckily, my mother goes to bed by about 8:30.
Yeah, well.
Luckily, my mother doesn't know this show exists.
Everybody watch Lewis Lee's face when I pull up this destroyer picture.
Oh.
Wow. That's a destroyer?
That's the Japanese destroyer. That is
that's their new concept thing for an amphibious ship.
I imagine there might be
27,000 tons.
There might be an emergency provision to use that just in case aircraft needed to be recovered.
19,000 tons?
27,000 tons, and they're converting it to carry F-35Bs.
And look, they're reusing their original names too. The Kaga, the Azumo.
EC.
Yeah, the
Hyuga.
EC.
Yeah.
The Hyuga. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not aimed at us. That's aimed at China and North Korea.
Wait a minute.
imagine.
They've even got the rising sun flag on it.
I thought they were prohibited from using that nowadays.
Oh, okay.
No,
I did not know that.
One their Navy ensign?
I guess so.
Only the Navy flies that one now, I think.
Oh, there's Sea Whiz.
I see a whiz. Okay.
That's
Yamato. Yes, indeed.
Oh, look at that exhaust plume. You know them things are running hot. If it's that clear but that hot, you know them engines are running good.
Hey, that guy looks familiar.
notice a lot of phased array radar on there.
Yeah, that one in the back there, that looks like an Aegis setup even.
That is a Ollie Burke. I'm not sure what this is. That's some sort of...
That's an Arleigh Burke?
That's an Ollie Burke.
Yeah, that's an Arleigh Burke.
That's a command ship of some sort.
You can see the U.S. flag on it. Yeah.
Oh, come here.
Oh, wow.
That's a regular Japanese destroyer.
I was going to say, that almost looks like a Ticonderoga. Based on the size, with the Sea Whiz right there underneath the bridge, and then one on the stern.
And it's got a helo deck on the back, it looks like, on the fantail.
And it's got the rising sharp needle nose bow. That looks like a Ticonda.
Yeah.
105. Do we have a Tico named 105? CG 105.
Nick, we've been living in interesting times since the 40s.
No, the only 105 we've got is a Coast Guard boat. So. Tico. I don't think that was a Tico. I think that was a Japanese destroyer, but yeah, because it didn't have.
Then they got the mass resupplier back there behind that DD.
Yeah, no. Tico would have the phased array radar deck, the Aegis deck up front. This one doesn't have that, so that's not a Tico.
I bow to your
the Tico would have something like that on front.
Well, guys, I've been up since 4 a.m. I'm gonna bow out now.
Well, thank you for being here, Carl. We really appreciate it.
Glad to come in.
See you again.
Hi, Carl.
I'm actually going to bow out too, since I'm going to be doing Nick's show in the morning. So
Gotta
Well,
get
thank you as well.
I should probably get some sleep and be ready for the onslaught of comments.
Oh,
Have
I
a good
may
night.
or
Jim.
may not be awake early enough to be there, but I'll be there in spirit if nothing else.
Yeah, it should be a good one. So I'll see you guys later.
Alrighty.
All right.
Oh, there you go. Everybody's asleep.
We were so close to the Brady Bunch too. We just need one more person.
It's all right.
Well, I have a potential new diagnosis that caught me off guard.
Uh-oh, what'd you do?
That's mine. That's my baby. I
Nice.
spent my entire
1097?
Navy career on that 3/4 of an acre.
She's pretty.
USS Moynister.
What? She's
This
in.
is the 5-inch gun, the 8-pod ASRock launcher. We had Mark V torpedo tubes, midships, and a Lamps Hilo on the fantail. We were.
That's an interesting design of the
well
superstructure
armed.
behind the bridge there, all round.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen that in a hot minute.
Well, the flying bridge was mostly for signal. You can see our flags there.
Yeah.
But there was also, this is fire control radar.
I was gonna say that looks like a fire control radar.
Yeah. Yeah, this is fire control radar. And then this was our ANSPS 40, ANSPS 10. So this was our air search and surface search radars. And then we had that single diesel stack. To this day, I smell diesel burning. I think of this ship. But you know what? I mean, it was an incredible time to serve. This was late 70s. And this ship actually still exists. This ship was sold to the Egyptian Navy and still sails under the name Rashid.
Wow.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, a bunch of us that are plank owners have T-shirts that say the final frigate. It's the last fast frigate that still sails from the U.S.
What was her typical speeds?
We could do 35 knots.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we put the fast in frigate. I miss it. I miss my shipmates too. But yeah.
Let's see here. Rashid F966, the Rashid. Let's see here.
You have a recent picture of her?
I'm working on it. Egyptian Navy.
Well, while he's working on that, I may have a potential MCI diagnosis.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Mild cognitive impairment, aka short-term memory.
oh.
Okay.
In other words, you're getting old like everybody else.
Well, we don't know for sure yet, but everybody around me, my brother, my sister-in-law, my buddy upstairs, my mom, everybody's starting to notice. You'll tell me something in 30 minutes, and I'll be like, wait, you said what? And the repetitions are occurring more and more. So I went for a examination. Now, they're not seeing anything in the MRI, but they're going to send me in a couple of months to a specialist.
Hold on, let me blow this up. Oh, they treating you well, baby?
That's off of Wikipedia.
It's almost the same number. They took out the 0 and they switched to the.
Yeah, it was 1097 was our whole number. FF 1097.
Oh, they put a C-Wiz on it.
Put a what?
They put a C-Wiz on the back deck.
Oh yeah. Well, that'll come in handy.
I hope not.
The world would be better off if they never have to use it, but
Wow. Yeah, they've made a few modifications, but still looks the same. Got the
It's still got
retractable hanger on.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a retractable
Wait.
hanger.
Wait. Did they take the tubes? Look at the sides
what?
where the tubes would be. It looks like the Mark V.
No, they're still there. They're just gray.
Oh, they're there. They're in the side of the hull.
Wait a minute. Isn't that them right there?
No,
No.
that
No, they're
box
gonna-
in the
they're gonna
back is where
be-
they were.
They're actually going to be behind the stack, but in front of the captain's dinghy.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
where Louis was pointing was that box
Oh,
right there to
I'm
the
sorry,
right of your mouse.
I was. Oh, let's see.
Right
What
there
is
above
that?
the. I
Is
don't know
that
what
not a
that is.
torpedo tube there?
Can you blow that up
No.
anymore? Because where Louis was pointing was right there where the captain's launch was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
That
Right up
looks like
underneath
a
it.
good spot to put torpedo tubes, but yeah. But they got them light. Isn't that the lightweight launchers there where those people are standing, or am I not?
It's been 40 years. I'm trying to remember what was there.
That looks like with a little lightweight torpedo launchers, but I might be wrong. It's hard to tell with this picture.
I know that the torpedoes would fire straight out of the side.
Right.
On PT boats, they would launch forward or at a 30-degree angle.
Right.
Ours 90 degrees out of the side.
Texas used to do that too. The battleship. It had it could fire one torpedo at either side.
Hmm.
They figured out it was a compromise the armor, so they got rid of them and plated over them. But well, wait a minute.
Yeah, going back to the Wikipedia picture, you can clearly see the tubes on this side.
What? Oh, I'm sorry. Which picture? The
one you had
monster picture.
of the monster. Yeah, the Wikipedia. You can see the black tube sitting out the side there.
Hmm. Well, and the thing is we all had to wear dosimeters
Because the
And-
torpedoes had special warheads.
The ASROCs, the
yeah.
ASROCs didn't have nuclear tips. The torpedoes did.
Then they're called Mark 48s at that point, aren't they?
Well, no, Mark 48 is a class of torpedo. It could have a nuclear warhead. But,
My dad would be into this conversation. He was in the Navy.
oh, hey, let's see if this one's any better.
I'm sure he's watching.
From navalhistory.mil. Let me see if I can. Which means they might know something about what they're talking about. There we go. Maybe.
Don't you believe it?
Oh, that's the era that I was on her.
Before they invented color.
You got enough snow on your roof, too, pal.
That SPS radar looks entirely different in that photo.
Yeah, it would have been changed out. It underwent a refit in the Brooklyn Navy Yards in 1980. I had just gotten off, so that's why I said this is my era. That's the old antenna.
Is somebody
I just-
splicing the yard
The
arm?
Admiral
or
show
what?
up.
One bell, no.
I forget, Louis, you could answer this. What is it when they do the 4 sets of 2 bells? That's
a change of shift.
yeah, ding ding,
Yeah,
ding ding.
yeah. That's just letting everybody know it's time to either start or end your shift.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Glass has
It's 8 bells, isn't it, or is it 6 bells?
8 bells is midnight.
I can't risk it with my glass; it'll break.
Yeah. I was
It's
hoping
4-hour
somebody
shift.
wasn't about to have to get the vacuum cleaner out.
Navy runs 4-hour shifts, and every half hour is a bell.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Gotta get tougher
So
glass.
at 8 bells, it's time to change the shift, and then 1 bell, you're a half hour into your shift. 2 bells, you're
Dan,
an
pull up
hour
the
in.
chat.
I have
Pull
some
up the
Tupper
chat.
glasses. I have some Tupper glasses, but they're in the dishwasher in this.
I don't know. You'd have to catch me first.
That's where he's got the point.
But now I'll switch to root beer.
Oh,
Yeah, see? Right there in the box, underneath the launch. There's the tubes right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
That makes
But
sense.
in the Egyptian picture, they're not there. Or either they're so well painted you can't even make them out.
Hmm.
possibly.
But look, there's the newer radar set too.
The fallopian tubes.
That Egyptian picture though, that glass water, I would love to make a max power run in that.
I'll tell you, that ship design was really good. We were really fast and very stable. We actually took an 89-degree roll and came back from it. 89 degrees, because I was in CIC when it happened, and we had a maneuvering board, 360-degree maneuvering board, and the maneuvering board was perpendicular to the line of the ship, and we had a string hanging from the center of the maneuvering board and a nut tied on the end of the string that went around the outside where it has the degrees.
A precision instrument, yes.
Absolutely. But every time we would take a roll, I would wait, and when the nut stopped moving, I would take the grease pencil and put a little tick mark and say that's how far we rolled. And one time we were going past Bermuda, and we got into a really nasty storm. We took an 89-degree roll. We were laying on our side and came back.
Wow.
You had
Wow.
Chief
I bet you
Petty
the
Officer
bridge
with
was
hatch
up there
marks
like
this.
guys were
green
there in the
around the
bridge
gill.
hanging off a structure.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We had
That's-
grab handles everywhere.
Yeah, but that's
And they
up
were being
there on the
used.
bridge though. You're down in the bowels in the CIC. They're up there like, oh
yeah.
shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
People
the
were
water.
walking on the bulkheads.
Hey, it could happen.
I'm walking on bulkheads. Oh yeah.
Oh, who wants to reply to Danielle?
USS Kirk, 1087. I don't remember that one, but wow.
Hey, I'm not casting aspersions anywhere, so
Well,
That's
these were
definitely
Knox class frigates.
it's the
I
exact.
do not have the knowledge available to say
And they weren't
anything.
always fast frigates. When they were all built, they were DEs, destroyer escorts.
Yeah. Kirk was 1087.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got it here.
according to that.
She's now with the Taiwanese Navy as the Fen Yang.
Oh, so there is another frigate.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Knox class DE converted into a fast frigate
Yeah.
named after Admiral Alan Goodrich Kirk.
Named after an admiral?
Think at
Yeah.
one point.
Named after a second lieutenant got fragged in Vietnam.
Just think at one point he was Captain Kirk.
Yeah.
I bet you that man, if he was still alive after Star Trek came out, I bet you that man never heard the end of that one.
Oh man.
Let me see. Cannoli.
Oh,
Which
I
was-
love a good cannoli.
Yeah. Frigate 1057 is in. Oh wait, no, it was sent to Greece and sunk at its target. Oh well.
Sunk in a Stargate.
Sunk
you-
as a target.
As a target.
It's a target. Please
Whipple.
enunciate, John.
I'm sorry. Whipple went to
Where did that come
Mexico.
from?
Air Force that has the Stargates, okay?
USS Whipple went to Mexico. Reasoner got sunk as a target.
Nobody likes
went,
Stan.
Stein went to Mexico. Marvin Shields went to Mexico. Let's see. Vreeland went to Greece. Renamed Macedonian, was decommissioned. Let's see here. I'm trying. they always put where it went and then the note at the end what happened to it. So I'm having trouble reading it.
Don't talk about that part. It's like, yeah.
Fanning is still in the Turkish Navy.
Hell, the Eldridge was sold to Greece.
I believe
if you're into
talking about the
conspiracy
Philadelphia
theories, you know
experiment,
exactly
Eldridge?
which one that was. Yeah, that one.
Owlette went to Thailand. You see, Joseph Hughes went to Taiwan. Those are both still in service.
I love that
Bowen
movie,
went
by
to
the way.
Turkey. It's still in service. See, a lot of them got sold to countries as spare parts.
Kirk is still apparently in current service with Taiwan.
Oh yeah.
Hi.
McCandless went to Turkey. It's still in service. Beery went to Turkey. It's still in service. Bruton went to Taiwan. Still in service. Kirk went to Taiwan. Still in service. Barbie went to Taiwan. Still in service. Jesse L. Brown went to Egypt. Still in service. Ainsworth went to Turkey. Miller went to Turkey as spare parts.
Not Petticoat Junction.
Let me see.
Operation Petticoat.
Thomas C. Hart went to Turkey. Capodanno, with the mafia boat there, went to Turkey. Let me see. Ferris went to Mexico. Truitt went to Thailand. Valdez went to Taiwan. Moynister went to Egypt, and there were 2 that were canceled. Or, I'm sorry, more than 2. 1, 2, 3, and then another 7, 6, 7.
Now, what do you mean by
canceled? About a dozen of them. So,
the construction
They were never laid.
was canceled?
Yeah, they were never laid.
Now, one of the things interesting about my ship, it was actually built in New Orleans at Avondale Shipyards.
Huh.
Yep. So I was actually the first person from New Orleans to serve on board.
Wow.
And so they gave me the first chart that the ship ever used, which was the Mississippi River at New Orleans.
Very nice.
So they used that
still
chart
got
to
that?
navigate from Avondale down the river to the Gulf of Mexico and then on to Norfolk.
unfortunately,
Have
the
you-
chart
have
is
you still got
classified. No
that?
one's been to anybody about it. So,
What?
Have you still got that? I mean,
hell
that'd be
yeah.
a great. Yeah, that'd be a great thing to frame and hang on the wall.
I want to, but it's big. I mean, this chart is about 5 feet wide, about 3.5 feet.
Okay,
coming.
just build another wall.
Yeah, wall mural.
Yeah.
Go to Michael's, they'll frame it.
Oh, yeah.
Hobby
Yeah, they
Lobby.
will.
You could use it as a green screen.
Nah. No, there are companies though that do really good jobs with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Old American flags and old maps.
My main thing is that it's been folded up for 40 something years. I don't know if I'll be able to get the wrinkles out of
it might crumble. Paper's
I
not the most
haven't taken it
indestructible
out
of
in
things.
a long time. I'll have to see what kind of condition it's in.
because you got to remember, he had to bring that thing home in a sea bag.
Yeah.
Could you imagine though if they actually came out with the Montana class?
For those of you who don't know, the Montana class was going to be the big brother to the Iowa class.
4 turrets,
There were-
12 guns.
Wow.
And it's going to have the same 16-inch 50 calibers the Iowa class had.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Originally,
you could definitely modernize that.
Originally, there were going to be 6 Iowa class battleships and 4 Montana class, but they scrapped the last 2. Actually, one of them about got laid, and they scrapped it in the slip. And the other one, they actually finished the hull, had the engines in it. The only thing they didn't do, superstructure and guns.
I'm so glad Carl wasn't here to hear that remark.
I know. When the Wisconsin ran aground several years back, I think it ran aground, messed up the bow of the ship really bad. It was kind of funny. They had to cut the bow off.
Wisconsin didn't run aground. It was hit by another ship.
It ran into another ship. Okay.
Yeah.
And they took the bow off the Kentucky
Yeah.
and welded it onto the front of the Wisconsin to replace the damaged bow. So technically, if you go to the Wisconsin, which is in Norfolk, it's a museum ship. If you go there, walk all the way to the front of the ship, technically you're standing on the bow of the USS Kentucky.
I heard that story.
Yep.
I really wish they would not have messed up these LCS, the littoral Trimarians. Because that zero turn ability it has and the speed it has behind it when it makes them max rate turns.
I was always upset they got rid of the hydrofoils, Pegasus class hydrofoils.
Oh God, yes.
Because I was sitting here watching all this crap that's going on with the Somali pirates and the Houthi rebels and all that. I'm thinking, boy, those ships would do such a great job down there against all them small.
Yeah.
targets.
Oh, you know what would really make them trip? Would be the sea shadow creeping up on them. Remember that stealth boat, that triangle-looking thing? They're just out there trying to sneak up on a cargo ship at night, and here comes this black mass just lurking out the water right in front of them. All of a sudden, spotlights and gunfire. Just be like, I'm telling you, there was something there. No, there's nothing there. You don't see squat. And then just out of nowhere, oh, here comes the spotlights, and then just 50s ripping into them like.
It's a different kind of UFO, an unidentified floating object.
Yeah, really. And then you would almost be obligated to play the 5 tones from Close Encounters. Because you're about to have a close encounter you will never forget if you live through it.
They'll be like, yo, get off your own product, dude. You seeing things. I'm telling you, it was a triangle on the water. Oh, man, you stupid. Get out of here. Get off your product, man. Go pirate something else. The amount of psyops they could do with the sea shadow against them pirates.
There is one of the Pegasus class hydrofoils still in existence. Doesn't have guns or anything like that. But they just Ares is still out there. And they're talking about moving it down to Florida to put in a museum, which I don't really know why. Because, like I said, it doesn't have the guns or the missile launchers, or doesn't even have the radar antenna on top or anything.
Florida doesn't strike me as a safe place to put a boat museum. I mean, with all the hurricanes that go through there, something's going to get wrecked.
Heck, the boat museum's the only thing that would stand half a chance. At least
Well,
most
you got a point there.
At least most of the exhibits float.
Yeah, but you don't want it to wind up in Crystal Lake.
You can't have an F-16 museum. Ask the Air Force.
Oh.
My father wanted submarines, but they wouldn't let him. He wound up in an office
Why'd they
the whole time he was in the Navy. He never got on a boat.
It always struck me as funny that the home port to most of America's Goodyear blimps used to be down on the southern tip of Florida. Who puts
I flew in the America.
Who puts a blimp
Goodyear Airship America?
Yeah, who puts a blimp hangar in Hurricane Island? Come on,
Wait a minute. Did the Navy pull back their
Better in
ghost ship?
Akron.
Lewis, you might know about this. Do you remember the recent the USV Ranger, the USV Nomad? Because I remember reading an article just a few months ago about the Nomad appeared up on an auction site. I just went and found it, but apparently that article is no more. It's now 404 not found, and I'm reading something on Wiki now. They've been put back into service or sent somewhere.
Wasn't there a story about a runaway blimp? It was a military blimp, and the crew disappeared.
That might have been the Macon off the coast of California.
I believe that is.
Right.
Yeah, there were two sister airships, and they weren't blimps; they were rigid.
In the private chat, I put the name of the ship I'm talking about if you want to look it up real quick.
Private chat.
No,
but,
Now look at that ship. That ship was just on an auction site. Listen to me. Stripped of its radars and the command and control for the drone control. The superstructure was bare, but you could still see the mount points and everything. This ship was on an auction site for about $650,000, and now apparently that's all gone. It doesn't exist anymore. It's been sent off somewhere.
Let's see here. According to Wikipedia, Ghost Fleet Overlord, it was one of the unmanned surface vehicles. A ship that, robot ship. They had Ranger, Nomad, and Mariner, and the fourth is Vanguard. While technically uncrewed, the ship carried a human crew of 6. Let's see here.
After being a Star Trek fan, I don't think I'd want to name a ship Nomad.
Ship Nomad.
Yes. That one might turn around and bite you in the butt one day.
That thing's got fishing boat written all over it. Let me tell you.
Oh God, yes. Have you seen? There were pictures of it on the inside. That ship was nice looking. Yeah, here it is. GSA auctioning former Navy vessel Nomad, but now they've pulled all the pictures down. A war zone.
I wonder what makes it robot crew. I mean, I see cameras all over it, but
okay, here I found the actual. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it. Private. Can I send it to private chat? No, I'll have to send it to Facebook. Hold on. Dan, here, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. There's the actual auction site. Look at the pictures of the inside of that thing. Oh, some of them are not showing up now. But oh, yep, there they go. I mean, imagine that for a fishing boat or just even a cruiser to run around in.
I'm not seeing
It's got a full. It's got a full.
I'm not seeing anything but the link to the original photograph.
Need to share it.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me throw this to my other screen.
Yeah, if you got them there, you can throw them up on share and we can
share screen.
Pull it up for you.
I believe this is screen 2. Yep.
Turn into a king crab fishing boat.
Look, this thing has a full kitchen.
Wow.
That would be a galley.
Galley.
Yeah, galley, whatever. But there's your one of three.
I've lived in houses that weren't this deluxe.
One of 3 heads. Engines are in good condition. They're
one owner, lightly used.
But yeah, this is what she looked like as the Nomad. Imagine this as a fishing or a cruise liner. But they took this out, they took that out. All the radars here are gone.
Of course.
There, see, it's all bare now. So you have all this space now. You could do whatever you wanted with. There's the bridge.
You can make a little crab boat or even cod out of that.
Little.
Yeah.
Look, she's got 4 water jets.
Mm.
Imagine the uptick if you just went full flank emergency on that.
It looked like something out of Johnny Quest.
And there's her sister ship, the Ranger and the Nomad. Look how long the Ranger is.
Yeah, it's big.
I believe they were talking about using them as resupply vessels.
I'm not sure what this is, but that looks. Oh, that's one of the unmanned. That's one of the
unmanned.
That's
the Sea Shadow.
No, that's not the Sea Shadow.
Yeah, that's Sea Shadow.
No, this is the Sea Shadow.
Now, what's the real difference between a ship and a boat?
There's the Sea Shadow.
How much money you spend on it?
Imagine sneaking this up to the pirates. They'll be more stupid.
Just remember people getting in arguments about, don't call my ship a boat. Don't call my boat a ship.
We never call a submarine a ship.
When you're on it, it's always a boat. When
there's
people are talking about it, it's a ship. I mean that's the highest ranking enlisted man is always Cobb, chief of boat. So,
yep, you can turn that off now. But yeah, that's the Sea Shadow. That's what I'm talking about. This thing
Thing's
driving
cool.
the pirates nuts trying to figure out what this was.
Oh, it's obviously
They got Darth Vader chasing us.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's cool. Piece of equipment there.
Well, if the F1, what was it, 111 or 117, the stealth fighter?
F117, yes.
Yep.
Yeah, 117. Yeah, it looks like it was the same designer.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
So,
Well,
like,
I mean,
if
yeah, look,
Batman had an
look,
F117 as his bat plane, that would be his bat boat.
Well, I mean, Lockheed built the F-117. Look who built the Sea Shadow.
Yep. That is interesting. Keep that diagram up for a sec. Huh.
There's probably only so many certain kinds of angles that
Hold
reflect
on, I'll blow it up if it'll let
Okay.
me.
or that deflect radar.
Nope.
Secure site.
I have FTTPS enforced. There you go.
Wow. Okay. That's weird to have the engine that high.
Well, because all it was a generator. It was not direct drive. They were all electric.
Oh, okay.
So that's just a
see.
massive generator.
All right. The nacelles look like they can carry cargo too.
Probably.
Mini subs.
That's wild.
Remember James Bond?
Yeah.
The ship was in
Yeah.
James Bond, and they dropped that sea drill down the middle of it.
Yeah.
There was a cargo bay. They could drop ribs and stuff. If I remember reading that many years ago, there was actually a hoist bay. They could drop a rib or two right out the middle of the ship. Because I mean, with a profile like this,
looks more like a cockpit.
look, with a profile like that, you could just drop something out. The Sea Shadow keeps going. Fucking
Yeah.
SEAL team just drives off out the rear of it.
Yeah. Or out the bottom of it.
I was
Oh,
waiting
yeah, I
to
forgot about
see
that.
whether or not you would do that. I had my finger on the trigger. All right, let me get the other show going here. And John, you're going to have to end it so I can get this one started on time.
Oh, yeah. I remember that ship. It went up for surplus, but you couldn't keep it as a ship. You had to cut it up into pieces.
Which one? Sea
That
Shadow or Nomad?
Shadow.
Sea Shadow. Yeah,
No, they
that's why
cut-
it was chopped all to hell.
They cut it up. Look.
Yeah.
Mm.
They
Looks
couldn't
like
get
it's
rid of it at auction.
fiberglass.
Nobody would buy it at auction because what was the point?
Well, I mean, also, how would you sell this to civilians? It was made up of stealth material.
exactly, and they had to
They couldn't
destroy all the
sell
stealth
it.
material.
Yeah, they couldn't sell it. Here's a cross shadow of the. Oh yeah, see, generator, power down, all electric.
Yeah. Electric motor.
Somebody built a model out of it.
Yeah.
That is
Go to that
actually a
picture
pretty
with the-
cool design.
Go to that picture with the vertical launch up there. Number 4. No.
Popular Mechanics. Yeah. Huh.
I think I remember reading this episode too. I wish I could get back to Popular Mechanics, but they're too expensive now. But I had a 30-gallon tub of nothing but 20 years worth of Popular Mechanics and Popular Science.
Mm.
Remember when they did the blended wing article? Remember when they ran this article? Let's see if I can find it again
I shall return.
before we run out of time.
No, probably not.
Yeah, here it is.
Wow.
Cool.
Now, look what the FAA just got approval for to start building.
We're getting rained on down here in Ringo. You're about to get it, Lewis.
Huh. The only
They-
difference is they've gone to two engine pods instead of 3.
Yep. or 4. There was one article of like a big. They called it the Boeing 797, which even today still does not exist. But Popular Science ran with that one, and people were like, "Oh, look at this brand new airliner!" Now look what we get almost 20 years later.
Hmm.
Something,
they build
Chris.
If they build it, I guarantee you, in about 10 years, civilian market will get it.
Yeah.
They had that picture of that one that was a little bit wider body and it had more of a angle to the front end. That they talked about how the window seats you could see forward.
Yeah, here it is. This picture right here. This was on Popular Science.
Oh, wow.
Can't. Well, yes, I can. Let's see if I make that blow up. There we go. This was on the cover of the Popular Science magazine. I remember that. I remember that one vividly. I was like, "No, they didn't."
Very interesting looking plane.
Yeah. And I mean, we have the B2, so why is that not plausible?
I mean, that's basically a B2.
The only problem I could see with it, infrastructure at the airports.
Infrastructure and weight. Getting something that big in the air, yeah, that's going to be interesting.
No, that wouldn't be that much of a problem.
No harder than C5 Galaxy.
The whole thing is lift. It probably lift.
No, it's just getting the gates. You know, they got the gates that roll out to the plane to let the people on and off.
Mm-hmm.
You probably have to modify those for the new angles because you can't just run it up the
Before we end the episode, John, guess what I found out?
What'd you find out?
My uncle is one of the innovators at Delta Airlines who designed those jetways.
Wow.
The ones that have the pedestal at the bottom just sits there. Skirt.
Oh, cool.
One of my uncles is one of the chief engineers who designed that system. The Delta Jetway system that now is basically at every airport in the United States. Well, most of the airports. I won't say every, but
the class.
When you see those jetways that have the wheels on them, my uncle's the chief engineer.
Okay, boys and girls, we're here in the last 30 seconds of the show here. I want to thank Lewis for showing up.
Turn that off for y'all.
School's almost over, so, unless they put you in the summer school thing.
Yeah. I may join from Alaska if I got good internet up there.
Oh, cool. Kiri, thanks for showing up. Andrew, Paul, nice seeing you. Dan, beautiful as ever.
Thank you.
Say goodnight,
everybody. Retired Dan.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I love being retired, but my wife is overworking me.
I have slept the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter-silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up, up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, when never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touch the face of God.
Did not get away with it. Fuck you, fuck, fuck.